So in this module we will discuss about the compute service inside your OpenStack platform. So that project name for this compute service is Nova. So we will see what is this Nova and how it works. So in this module we will discuss about the compute service, then Nova components, what all things are part of Nova, then Nova instance consoles, then how you can do the segregate of the cloud, and then we'll see the availability zones. Then also we'll see host aggregates and what is the difference between availability zones and host aggregates, and we will also see what all hypervisors are supported with Nova or compute service. And then we'll see the RAM and CPU requirement, or how Nova calculates the RAM and CPU and allocates accordingly to the instance. Then also we'll see the flavors or hardware specification, like group of hardwares. This mainly for RAM and CPU and disks, and also utilization. Then we'll see how you can work with VMware inside your OpenStack, and their limitations to use VMware for the compute service. And then also we'll see few basic Nova commands, and at the end of the topic this module we will see the updated lab build out. So once you enable your Nova service, how your lab setup will look, that also we'll see at the end of this module. So what is a compute service or Nova? So compute service or Nova is actually the hypervisor inside your OpenStack platform. So what it does, it creates, also it hosts and manages the cloud instances. So instances means here the virtual machines which are running inside your OpenStack cloud. So these virtual machines can run either Linux or Windows, any OS of any size it can run. So this the main work of compute service or Nova is to manage or host or create or delete those cloud instances. It also enforces policies mainly related to quota checks, like suppose if you have assigned a certain limit of quota to a particular project or user, whatever, so then it checks that quota also. Suppose you have given like, okay, one project can use up to 100 CPUs and 2 TB of RAM and 100 TB of storage. So when you go and create a new instance, or you assign some extra CPU or memory or disk to that instance, compute service checks the quota, whether you are crossing your limit or not, or you are in still under your limits. So that also checks via Nova or compute service, and it is that main fabric controller of your cloud computing that manages compute resources in infrastructure as a service cloud platform. So if you remember, we have already discussed like OpenStack is mainly infrastructure as a service cloud provider. So it is a main controller for your IaaS cloud platform. And one more thing you need to remember here, that it can scale horizontally on the normal x86 64-bit hardware to meet the demand. It also provides a framework for managing and using external compute resources in OpenStack cloud. So if you want to connect with VMware or other cloud providers, so that framework also given via Nova. And it also has various API supports to interact with various public clouds like Amazon's EC2 API and Rackspace API. So there are multiple components inside your Nova. So those mainly those components are Nova API. So what is the Nova API? It accepts and responds to end user compute API call. So it will mainly listen for API calls. Whereas Nova compute you have, so that is the main component inside your Nova which is responsible for creating and terminating VM instances via hypervisor API. So what it does, it calls the hypervisor API to perform this creation or deletion or termination of the VM instances. Then we have that component Nova schedule. So this is the main component to handle your VM instance request from queue and determines where the VM should run. So how it works means, like suppose you have 4 compute nodes inside your OpenStack platform. So when you go and build a new instance, this is the service Nova schedule who is responsible for deciding that new instance will go to in which compute node, depending on the loads and various other aspects. Then you have a component called Nova conductor. So it's like a proxy for connecting to your databases, mainly via RPC or remote procedure calls, and this is mainly primarily for Nova, and it enables you to give access to your database without providing any granular level access to your database. Then you have that component called Nova non-VNC proxy. So what is that? It allows compute service to access instances through virtual network computing or VNC client over web portal. So what it does, it provides you the console for the running instances inside your OpenStack platform and render them on your web page. So that console is accessible via web page in your Horizon. Then you have the component called Nova Console Auth. It mainly manages the token authentication for both the console proxies, and at the end you have another component called Nova Console. So it's a GN specific service and is not been used by VNC proxy architecture. So you have two type of console, one is Nova Console and other one is Nova non VNC proxy, sorry, no VNC proxy. So in Nova instances consoles, if you want to see, so there's mainly gets connected via default no VNC port. So the port number is 6080 and this is a TCP port. To use your VNC support in your dashboard, that means that in your Horizon you need to at least run two services, that is Nova no VNC proxy and Nova console auth. Without these two services, if you try to access the console of your running instances, you will not be able to access them. And also you need to make some changes inside your compute host to enable the VNC support for your instances. And also it supports for JN and VNC consoles. So both type of console it supports. So both these client proxies leverage Nova console auth service for authenticating to the instances, and service must be running for either proxy to work. So at least you should have either of these two service to run to have the proxy to work. And also you can run many proxies against single Nova console auth. So you no need to have a single proxy service to run against console auth. You can have multiple proxies running. Then you have segregate. You can do the segregate of the cloud. So how you can do it? Here you have few terminologies. So first terminology is called sales. So sales are nothing but the partition of your compute host. So why you need to have the cell is mainly useful to handle large deployment or geographically separated installation. So suppose you are setting up your OpenStack environment over various locations, like one data center or one setup you are keeping in India, another one setup you are keeping in China, another one is in US, or another one is in Europe. So in that case it is divided into geographically various places. So in that case cell will be very helpful to deploy or manage this kind of complex installation. It also provides you a tree type of structure to configure the cell. So you have the top level in that is that API. So here you have mainly running Nova API service, but not the Nova compute. So this only is responsible to accept the API request in this top level cell. And then you have the child level. So inside child level you have run all the Nova services running except the Nova API. So this is like backend for your top level. So it will have actual instances running inside your child level, but it will not have any Nova API to directly accept any external request. Then in each cell has its own message queue and database service to maintain the cell, and also as I mentioned already, it runs the Nova sales service to run the cell. And you can have single API server which can control access to multiple compute installations, and also you can schedule at cell level. So this is a very good feature which gives you greater flexibility and control over where the VM runs. So how it works, like you have your top level API cell which has the underlying child level, so it has a control over all the childs and it gets the status of your all the childs. So now if you want to put a instance, it can decide which compute node to run the instance. So this gives OpenStack more flexibility to schedule the VM running. Then you have the terminology called region. So regions are nothing but is a catalog service that is identified by region and endpoint. So region allows for discrete separation of services. So suppose you have various services, so you can divide them and put each service in one region, and sharing of infrastructure between compute installations also becomes much more easier and possible because of the region. And this compute schedule VMs to run on set of nodes, which enables high degree of fault tolerance. Then you have the term called availability zones inside your compute. So availability zones allows admin to manage and isolate defined entities in infrastructure. So suppose you have it running instances on the database, you can have it them into one availability zone, then you can have your application servers running in another availability zone. So unlike host aggregates, availability zones are visible to the customers so that they can use availability zones to deploy their infrastructure, and this can partition compute deployments into logical groups for like a group of hosts that shares common resource or group of hosts that have special property. So for user, groups appears as availability zones, but one thing to remember here, user cannot view the group metadata or hosts that makes up the zone. Now the next topic is host aggregate. So it allows further partitioning of availability zone. So you already created availability zone, so if you want to again segregate that availability zone, you can go ahead with the host aggregates. So one more thing you need to remember here, the difference between availability zone and host aggregate is that whereas availability zones is visible to both admin user and normal users, but host aggregates are only visible to the cloud admins, not to the end users, and this enables us to use Xen hypervisor resourceful inside your OpenStack platform, and this has been generalized to provide means of assigning key values paired to groups of machines. So here each node can have multiple aggregates or each aggregates can have multiple key value pairs, and same key value pairs can be assigned to multiple aggregates. So you no need to have a single key pair for your each host aggregates. You can share the same key pair with multiple host aggregates. So where you can have the usage of the host aggregates is mainly enables you the advanced scheduling. So the scheduling is like where your VM should run and all, so those kind of things it can have better control. It also set up chain hypervisor resource pool available for your OpenStack platform, and this define logical groups for migration, and for the administrator groups appears as host aggregates, whereas for the normal user these groups are appears as a availability zone. And this has assigned compute host and associated metadata, and metadata provides information for use with Nova scheduler, like you can have limit specific flavors or image to subset of host. So accordingly your host you can limit your flavors or images to available for the end user via this host aggregates. So for your compute service, below are that supported hypervisor. So it supports both Linux hypervisors. The Linux anyhow by default is supported, and also it supports some other non-Linux hypervisors like VMware ESX. So in a Linux hypervisor it mainly supports KVM, Chain, KEMU and LXC. And one more thing you need to remember, sometimes what happens, people mix it with hypervisor, so it doesn't give you the software to virtualize your environment. It only defines the driver to use the virtualization environment like your VMware or your KVM. So you should have virtualization running on the server where you want to do the compute service installation. So this only provides you the driver to work with that specific virtualization software. And then CPU and RAM allocation. So in OpenStack it allows to over provision CPU and RAM for the instances on your compute nodes. So this enables us to have increased number of instances, but one thing you need to remember, when you will go for higher number of instances you may face performance issue inside your OpenStack platform, because this puts overload on your CPU and RAM, and which can in turn impact the performance. So by default for CPU that allocation ratio is 16:1. That means if you have one CPU, scheduler can allocate up to 16 virtual cores to the instance. So it's like one physical core being divided into 16 virtual cores. So if you have a physical node which has 12 cores, scheduler can see 12 into 16, that means 192 available virtual cores. Whereas if you are going with the typical flavor definition of 4 virtual cores per instance, then this ratio provides 48 instances on physical node. So in a 12 core physical node you can have up to 48 instances by going with this CPU allocation ratio. And RAM default allocation ratio is 1.5:1. So that means scheduler allocates instances to physical node as long as total amount of RAM associated with the instance is less than 1.5 times around or amount of RAM available on physical node. So if you have 10 GB available, you can allocate up to 15 GB RAM to the instances. And if you want to change this ratio, that 16:1 ratio, if you want to change, or if for the memory if you want to change the ratio 1.5:1, you have to specially make changes to the two parameters, that is CPU underscore allocation underscore ratio and RAM underscore allocation underscore ratio inside your Nova configuration file. So that is /etc/nova/nova.rc. conf. So in that particular configuration file you need to define these two parameter to change the ratio of CPU or memory for your OpenStack platform. So then moving to the next topic, that's flavors and utilization. Flavors are nothing but it provides you a standardized view of virtual machine resource requirement. So using flavors you can simplify scheduling instances while best utilizing physical resources. So depending on your physical resource you have to design your flavor. So if you don't keep it in mind, you may end up running with overload or with a wrong configuration. So by default OpenStack provides you few default flavors, so which is almost suited for all typical configurations of commodity server hardware. So you no need to maybe make yourself any flavor, so you still can prepare, but you will be good to use the default flavors available with your OpenStack compute service. And it may needs to customize flavors or create new ones to better align instance size with your hardware. So suppose you may have a requirement to have almost 20 CPU core for a instance which is not probably available in your OpenStack platform by default. In that case you can create a customized flavor to meet your demand, and here workload characteristics can influence hardware choice and flavor configuration. So accordingly your requirement you can choose the hardware and then you can create flavor on top of that hardware to work. And one more thing here, you need to remember that particularly where workloads require different ratio of CPU, RAM and disk resources, there you will be creating by yourself customized flavors. So one more thing you need to remember here, like your compute service can work with VMware as a backend hypervisor. So it has various plugins to work with that. So compute plugin works under compute or Nova, so this helps to connect with your ESX cluster, whereas your NSX network controller plugin works under your OpenStack network service, so that's called Newton. So in this diagram you can see your compute scheduler is there, that has been connected to two different computes in the cluster, and then they are in backend, they are connected to your VMware vCenter, and eventually your ESX cluster nodes are connected to that VMware vCenter, and whereas in network part is connected via NSX controller, and then it get interpreted via OpenStack networking component, and your image service and image storage, they are connected to the shared data store inside your VMware setup. So one thing you need to remember here, that still VMware is not fully supported in OpenStack, so it has few limitations. So those limitations are like, for the compute you have direct to ESX driver, but problem is that that is not been supported via VMware. So if you run into some issues, VMware will not help you, or they may refuse to help you. Whereas for networking Neutron, if you are using the NSX network plugin with your inside your OpenStack, then that is supported, but if you are using Nova network for production environment, that is not supported. You can still use the Nova network in production with the risk that you will not get support from VMware, or if you want to use or test this particular component, you can have it into development or pre-production servers to test it. Whereas block storage Cinder, that is supported inside your VMware, but only thing you need to keep in mind that block storage should be in the VMDK format, because VMware only reads VMDK. Whereas for the image service, that is also been accepted or supported by VMware with the vCenter driver, and here also you need to keep in mind that uploaded images should be into VMDK format. If it is in some other format, it will not work with your VMware as a backend for your compute service. So here are a few basic Nova commands. So one is like OpenStack server list. This list your instances, whereas OpenStack image list, this list the available images, and OpenStack flavor list, this list the available flavors inside your OpenStack platform. With the command line itself, we can create or launch an instance. For that, you have to use the command OpenStack server create. So here is the example, like OpenStack server create hyphen flavor my lab.project1. so you are using which flavor you want to use, that you can specify. Then hyphen image, which image you want to use, that is like fedora underscore cloud underscore image, and then you give the instance name like fedora underscore instance 01. So this will launch a instance from the command line. Whereas if you want to see the instance information, you can do like OpenStack server show instance name, and then if you want to pause or unpause a server, you need to do OpenStack server pause or unpause. And whereas if you want to start or stop, the command is OpenStack server start or OpenStack server stop. So once you're done with your Nova setup and configuration, your lab will be looking like this. So this is the updated diagram once you are done with Nova setup inside your OpenStack platform. So Nova will be running in all the three nodes, that is controller node and both the compute node.